This week on the Retirement Quick Tips podcast, I'm addressing the question, how do I stop overspending? Now, unfortunately, not enough people ask this question and not enough people look at it seriously. Most of us live in denial about our spending, or we try to rationalize it and justify it. I know this because I do the same thing. Okay, so yesterday I talked about the problem with overspending, which is twofold. One, that it causes financial stress, life stress, because if you don't have enough money in your bank account to cover emergencies or, life's inevitable big ticket items, then you're always in this pattern of putting something on a credit card, then figuring out how to pay it off. And it's a lot of stress. And most Americans are stressed about money for that reason. They do not have enough money set aside in savings. And a big part of it, if you're taking an honest look, is not because they don't make enough money. There are plenty of Americans out there who are struggling financially, but there are plenty of Americans out there who are also not disciplined with their spending. And so we want to maintain discipline and balance with our spending, because the other problem with the overspending is that it can keep you from reaching your most important goals, both now and in the future. These could be things simply like living a comfortable retirement, buying a car you've always dreamed of owning since you were 11 years old, taking a once-in-a-lifetime fishing trip with maybe your son. So these are things that require money, require assets. Hopefully you can save up for those things and not forego them because of $5 spent here or there. That really adds up over time. And like I said, many of us live in denial about our spending habits because it's easy to justify overspending, especially if you are not broke. Like if you have money in the bank, you have a job, you have income coming in, you have some retirement savings, you're like, okay, cool, I can just make it rain with all the other money that I have. Again, have some balance. And so luckily, there is an easy test that if you are brave enough, I challenge you to take that will stop you from living in denial. Okay, you can actually determine if you are an overspender or not. Now, on the flip side, this test can also help you determine if you're a bit of a miser with your money. Maybe you're not spending enough. Maybe you're hoarding too much money and maybe not enjoying life that much either because you are oversaving. But most of us fall on the other side, which is the overspending side. So here's the test. You take 10%, multiply that by your age, and multiply that by your income, and that is your expected net worth. So let me give you an example. 55-year-old couple making $175,000 a year in household income. So if I take 10%, multiply by 55, multiply that by $175,000 of income, I get $962,500. That would be that couple's expected net worth. So this test isn't perfect. There's lots of reasons why you could be above or below this. A perfect example is like a 40-year-old doctor who's making $600,000 or $700,000, or they're a high income earner, but maybe they haven't been making it that long and they have a ton of student loans still. So they're still trying to pay those off and they've undersaved. But hopefully they'll accelerate those once those other loans are gone. So that might be an example where someone would not have the expected net worth. But it is a good measuring stick to self-diagnose an overspending habit. So if you have spent all of your income on material possessions that don't really have any real value because they're not being added to your net worth, or if you have used your income wisely to save and invest in assets that contribute to your net worth, it should be reflected in this formula. Now, if your net worth, again, we want to be in the ballpark of that expected net worth, and that tells you that you are balancing spending money today with saving for the future. If your net worth is 2 times your expected net worth, that's what's known as a prodigious accumulator of wealth. And if your net worth is half of the expected amount, then you are an underaccumulator of wealth. So there's a pretty wide range, but I'd say if you are close to the mark on that expected net worth, 10% times your age times your income, that should be your expected net worth. And we want to be in the ballpark of that. So take the test, be honest with yourself and your spending habits, and then I'll come back tomorrow to help you address ways that you can start to reduce your overspending if your expected net worth is lower than where you might want to be and where you should be for your age. And we want to use that money for what's most important in the long run. We need a why, because it's hard to stop saying no to ourselves on little things here and there. It doesn't seem like much, but we need a bigger why in order to cut back if overspending is a problem. So we'll start to address that in tomorrow's episode. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Ashley Michike, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.